Someone let me know when he comes on. We're at 6:02.
Sebastian is on.
I
think he's muted. Yeah, he is.
There you are. I see you. Nice hat.
What are you doing?
Where are you? I'm in Turks. I'm at this place called the Amanyara. They brought me down to teach. Have you heard of this place?
No.
Dude, it's insane.
No, I haven't.
No, it's like it's way out of my wheelhouse. I mean, it's one of those. What is that?
I'm having beef jerky.
All right,
a lot of salt, Don.
Listen, I don't mind this salt. Before we kick it off, I was talking to a couple of people off the ledge because I'm looking at the movie. I haven't seen this movie Fresh that you're in. And you've got some people right now that are not eating meat because they saw you running around the kitchen with what is this? I don't even know what this was. And I told him, I said, he's either going to talk about it or he's going to punt and give us an ESPN answer. So I'm waiting.
You have to watch it.
That's a punt. He just punted.
It's about protein. Where do we get it, Don?
Well, where's that jerky from? Or are you not allowed to even show me?
You know what?
Let me see.
Oh, no, it's called chipotle auto sweet and tangy. It's gluten-free.
Terrible for you. Put it down. Awful.
I knew you were gonna object.
No. Okay, I'm fine with it. Tone messaged me yesterday. They were doing a muscle and fitness thing. And they're working out with Arash. They're all in the gym and they're all like pumping weight. They're like, what are you doing? I'm sitting on the beach with a beer in my hand. And I'm like, I'm doing this. And I just start drinking the beer. And Frank's like, you're on live right now. I'm like, then get off of me then. And I just hung up.
My God. That's amazing. Well, you need, it's good. You probably need to like take a moment for yourself too.
It's nice, man.
I don't know. I've never been down there.
Dude, it's 3 hours from New York. It's 3 hours from New York. And it was really easy to get in and out of here. And it's just like, it's on the beach with like crystal blue water, and took the kids out to a reef today and we did some free diving.
Are they there with you, little Donnie?
Oh, yeah, Donnie's in the shower right now. He's like waiting to go to dinner.
Donnie's killing something.
Donnie actually got into a bike accident the other day where because everyone bikes around here and he's biking and he comes, he's all shook up like, what's up? He goes, I just flipped my bike. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I ran into this thing and I flipped over and landed in a bush. I'm like, did anyone see you? And he goes, yeah, all these people see me. I go, what'd you do? He goes, I just jumped up and I went, I'm not used to the foot brakes. It's like he completely punted and said he wasn't used to not having handbrakes and foot brakes. So we were laughing our ass off, but
he's a monster. He's going to be a monster.
Well, I'm psyched to see him. I'm psyched. I'm going to be back Saturday and looking forward to hopefully getting some training in the next few weeks. So,
yeah, no, it'd be nice to get back into it.
Oh no, it'll be good. I mean, you look great. We got 611 people on here right now, dude. This is pretty awesome.
Well, thank you for everyone for participating. A year later, our annual April check-in.
Oh wait, last year was March, right? Or was it April? I think it was March. It was March.
It was March.
Thank you, Sarah. And now that we had Sarah jump on, we're gonna ask a question from Sarah. What's your absolute least favorite workout move and absolute favorite move? Do you have one?
Contrary to popular belief, I'm not a leg man.
You got strong.
I don't really like to do the leg workouts.
You got a great squat.
I know that's testosterone. That's our bread and butter, the legs, right?
That's great. We've had some great leg workouts, by the way. I missed that.
The problem is the legs. I could do one squat and I'll get more results out of that than I will out of any upper body thing. And that really pisses me off.
It is true though. It's like lower body, the amount of return, even on your abs, right? Haven't you noticed like all the goblet squatting we've done or double bell squatting we've done? I really feel like, and we do.
Those are definitely better for me as opposed to like, the
bar squats.
Yeah, the bar squats. It's a lot. And you're always pushing me to go deeper. I'm like, it's a pretty deep squat, Don. I mean, I'm pretty much on the floor at this point. Like, I'm like sitting.
You're good.
How much more deeper do you want me to go? In hell, like I'm like.
You know what, man? It's you're not getting out of leg day if that's what you're trying to do right now.
I know.
Look at Ethan. Though, who gets out of leg day? Shim never shows up on leg day. Have you noticed that?
That is true.
Yeah, he's always full of shit. He's always like trying to do back or chest.
We got to call him out.
I'm calling him out. We got a good question here. Ashley, we're kind of jumping right into the heart of this. I think, Seb, last year, what was so awesome was how open you were about, listen, we all battle with specific things. Or I know I sure as hell have. But Ashley asked about, you've been very open about your struggles with anxiety, body dysmorphia. Dr. Lynn Saladino, no relation, briefly touched on changing physical appearance in relation to mental health in her Zoom call. Hold on a second, out of form. With physical appearance being so tied to personal identity, is there a specific look that makes you feel the most like Sebastian? That's a good question. I think that's like, what's your favorite look, right? Is it Tommy Lee? Is it?
I know, man. I don't even really think of the look anymore, to be honest, now that I've gotten older, like, because your body, as you know, doesn't give you like the same result as quickly. I'm more about like what feels the best, what feels good. Forget what looks good. I mean, like, all I was saying in terms of the body dysmorphia thing is that when you've gone in different kinds of weight up and down and stuff, and I have, like, through my life, certainly like when I was growing up and everything, like, you're just more conscious of, you know, yourself. And I think it's good and bad, because you can take that and kind of make it work for yourself in a way. You can get very obsessive about it, and maybe it will push you to kind of get better results. But then you have to be careful that at certain times you're not too hard on yourself either, to the point where nothing you're doing feels good, or you're being your own bully, and that's obviously not good either, you know. But so it's kind of like figuring out how to make that work for yourself. But honestly, I since I've been running more in the last 2 years, the running's been kind of a nice thing. I mean, you got to balance it out, because even if you run all the time, right, then it's your knees and everything. You got to stretch, and I hate stretching, so that's another part that I got to work on. But I think if going forward, I think the cardio higher rep thing, that's something that I really enjoy, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I was always right, and I was a little away from running. I think for the last year, COVID, I ran a lot and I felt amazing. And then I got back into running the last 6 weeks, and I've been running like 3 days a week religiously. And yeah, I feel incredible doing it. But it's funny, like if I just ran and didn't lift, it's not enough. If I just lift and didn't run, it's like not like I personally like that balance. You said so.
Well, it's good to utilize muscles too, right? Because I think the muscle, I think as you get older, muscles kind of retain memory, right? So I feel like to some extent it helps. You'll keep them longer the more that you're working on them. That's what I always thought. I don't know. You know better than me there.
No, I mean, listen, I think you said something that any person who's successful in this field, meaning fitness, or found a comfort level in, and you said it, it's like, you're not going for a look, you're going for a feel, right? Like and this is what I'm trying to tell all the challengers on here, is that don't obsess over what the scale says. Don't obsess over your measurements. Like, obsess over the process of feeling good, right? Like a mental and physical. Like, and if you obsess over that process of feeling good, or you at least start going down that path of focusing on the process of feeling good, then everything else is going to follow. What do you think about that?
No, I like that. I think we are very obsessed with like instant gratification these days, you know. Yeah. And you can't expect your body just to like suddenly, and that's turn on a dime. And that's the tough part about working out. You got to put in the work every day, and you're not going to see the results until months later. So there's moments where you feel like you're doing all this stuff and there's nothing happening. Right. There's nothing changing, you know, the way you might have envisioned it, but you have to stick with it. You got to be patient. You got to know that it's just over time. It's just that discipline. But as long as you kind of give yourself small goals every day, then you're bound to be more successful, rather than going like, from now on, I'm going to run like 6 miles a day. It's like, that's unheard of. If you haven't been running, you can't just jump in like that. I mean, why don't you just try, you know, doing 5-minute 5-minute runs and then like walk the rest of the time, you know, for half an hour. And then like in 2 weeks, you do 7 minutes and then 10 and then 15 and then you build, you know?
No, absolutely. And I think this kind of kicks into, this is a great segue into the next question. Claudia Doherty, who's been on our challenge calls for 2 years. She says, hi, Don and Seb. Over the years working with Don, how has your training mentality changed? Thank you for joining and answering our questions.
Well, I think, you know, I feel like I've been certainly working with you. I've gotten to feel a little bit more confident and not to be as hard on myself. I mean, you need a good person to have in your corner, obviously. I think as you're going down any kind of goal-oriented adventure. So to some extent, you've helped me a lot, you know, kind of get a little less, discover more patience and not get so caught up in I guess the result, because everybody's body is different, right? I mean, you might, I'm sure you have like a body muscle or an upper body or whatever, the lower body, like that just gets triggered easier than other parts of your body. So then you might be able to do like those shoulder presses and then your shoulders are just immediately there, and then it might take you longer on something else. And so it just depends on everybody's got a different thing. And I think sometimes when you go to the gym, like you get so lost because you're looking at machines and you're seeing all these things and you don't know what to do. You should hit the one thing or not. And it's almost like you have to just give yourself like a plan. I mean, most of the people here on this call we're following some kind of a plan, right?
Yeah, they're all following. Hopefully they are. They're all following the plan. But listen, I think deviating off the plan is something that you've done a really good job of. And it's probably one of the areas that I've matured the most, because, you know, I'm in a great facility here, but, you know, I'm doing overhead pressing today and there's really 2 movements I can do with the weight that they had. So I just increased the volume. I set a timer. I did 10 sets of overhead presses. I did 10 sets of side raises. I was able to do some high rep shrugs, and I walked out of the gym in 25 minutes. And you know what? I felt great from it, right? Was that part of the plan that I was doing last week? No, but that's why I love so much of what you said. Sometimes you get into an environment where you just got to figure it out, make the best of it. And you're going to be okay if you're not doing what the plan says, right?
Yeah. And you got to ask yourself, like, why are you doing it? Like, your why has to be very specific, or else you're not going to stick to it. Like, why do you want to do this? Is it because you're curious, you're discovering? Is it, no, I want to I really want to get to be more active. I want more energy in my life. I'm just trying to get, activate my body in a different way. No, I want to lose weight. No, I want to look amazing. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Like, you could admit that. If it's like, there's plenty of people that are like, I just want to look good naked. I don't know. Like, what, there's no wrong answer. I just think as long as you own whatever that is for you, and just kind of stick to it. But I think sometimes a lot of people get into it without really knowing why,
Absolutely. Good question. In Morgan Jackson asks, Seb, what's your go-to cheat meal? And don't lie.
No, are you kidding? No, I love pizza.
Yeah, I'm about to say, don't say like chicken and rice is some bullshit answer there. Like, yeah, pizza.
No way. I love pizza, man. Yeah, pizza, chocolate, anything, baked goods. Those are all. I can't do a cheat meal unless I'm also doing like ice cream after. Like, it's either pizza and ice cream, or it's like burger, fries, and ice cream. And I feel like I'm really like, if I'm going to do it, like, I'm not like, oh no, like I just had I had this amazing thing the other day. It's called a souffle. Do you know what that is?
Chocolate or Grand Marnier? What'd you have?
No, it was a chocolate thing, but I didn't understand that you take the ice cream and you drop it and it sinks slowly. You're
hot, right?
It's insane. I mean, that thing shouldn't exist.
It takes like 45 minutes to make too. I think it takes a long time to make.
It was a lot.
Thanks for the picture, man. I really appreciate it. I love you too. I thought we were close. Connie Dalton, she asked, for Sebastian, I turned 25 in June, so I'm curious. if you could give 25-year-old one piece of advice, what is it? Or what do you wish someone had told you? I love that question, man. I just do.
Well, what do you wish they would have told you at 25?
No one cares about what I'm saying, but it's more, I mean, I think in a nutshell,
back and forth.
I think I would just look at myself and be like, dude, chill out, man. Like, I'd give honestly, I'd go over to myself. I'd give myself a little bit of a shoulder rub and just be like, listen, man, be patient and just chill out. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think as you get older, there's a lot of things that you look back on and kind of go like, why was I so stressed out about that? Because it really didn't matter. I mean, there's real life things. Yeah, there's real life things, obviously, that, but then it's interesting because looking back, there's a lot of things that I felt like in 20s, specifically the early 20s, that I worried about that I wouldn't worry about now. So maybe it's just part of the process, but I guess like, just remember that maybe one day, whatever it is that's killing you right now might not be so bad.
I love that. Kimmy wants to know, what's your favorite healthy snack?
Is there a thing like a healthy snack? I mean, like what, celery?
I don't eat snacks. I eat meals. So I couldn't even answer that question. A good protein shake.
Almond butters.
You always like the almond. You like those packets. I remember. You were like, I remember.
I do like those the Justin packets. Yeah. And almond butter is a good snack.
Yeah, no, it is a good one.
That's the food. Your hunger in half. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a clean one. Oh, this is a good question. Cindy wants to know, hey, Sebastian, was it easier to lose weight to play Tommy or gain weight, muscle for Civil War? You were amazing. Don't lie to him.
No, for me, it's easier to lose weight than it's to gain muscle. I still feel like it's hard because there's the diet component, there's a whole diet piece, and then you have to rest in order for the work to kind of be applied. There's a longer process there. Whereas with the losing, I mean, you and I have talked about intermittent fasting. I mean, that's a huge part of it. I think that goes a long way sometimes.
Right.
The 16-8 thing specifically.
And you did a lot. I mean, to drop
the 16-8, yeah. And then it was just like walking and running. I mean, and even so, like I said, it was still hard to lose, but it's harder than gaining for me.
I also think it's hard. And someone asked me the other day about training athletes opposed to training people getting ready for roles. And they're like, what do you think's more difficult? And I'm like, well, I know it's more difficult. And I'm like, training someone getting ready for a movie role. And they like got offended. It was like a strength coach. And they're like, why? And I'm like, we know Tom Brady's schedule. Like, we know when they're playing games. Like we know his off days. Granted, like someone's trying to kill him every time he's on the field, but I think in the position your guys are in, like when I came out to visit you in Cali, like a shoot can go late for some reason. Like out of nowhere, you think you're cutting at 10 and then you're not out till 3-4 in the morning. And that can really throw you down. Like schedule volatility is something that's really become a norm for you when you're shooting, yet you still stayed pretty consistent with everything else you needed to do.
Well, I mean, people lose. Like, I don't know what's going to happen if like I have to really gain weight and it's not muscle. How are we going to do that, Don?
Well, I mean, let's not talk about it. Let's just not.
By the way, I'm totally open for it. If the role calls for it, like if it's the right thing and it's meant to be, like I would do it, right? Like, and again, but I do feel like whether it's losing weight or gaining muscle or whatever it is for work, for a work purpose. I mean, again, I would still consult with you as I would with a nutritionist about trying to do it the healthier way, because you still want to, I don't know. I would still want to be able to kind of come back or figure out what the next thing would be. So
yeah, I think to do that, what we now you're in my head. Like, I don't know, was that a hint? But like, now I think what we would have to do is, I think food quality doesn't change, right? Like food would have to be.
I mean, it's the same, and you would still keep active to some extent, maybe not. It just depends, right? Like, but like my point is, the discipline aspect doesn't change in regards to what the role asks for. It's just You know, just,
Are you there?
yeah.
Sorry, buddy. We're gonna have to do that
Okay.
because people keep jumping on. This is a good question by Chaos, Alyssa, aka Chaos. She's fantastic. Question for Seb. And this is a deep question, but being in the public eye and having to be bombarded daily with everyone's opinion on how you look or behave must be difficult. What are some things you do to stay grounded and not allow the negativity surround or affect you while being happy with who you are and how you look? I think it's a great question.
You don't read other people's opinion.
You're right.
Ignorance is bliss to a point. Let's not take that too far because we love taking things too far these days. I'm just saying, like, you got to be selective with, I think, what, you know, like what you expose yourself to. I mean, I think you need a good grounded group of friends or family or people that you trust and whose opinion you really trust, to sort of consult. And then the rest is just sort of out of your control. You know, you can only do the best you can to be yourself, continue to be as honest as you can, and own who you are and own your choices, own your things, and the rest, like, people are just going to say what they're going to say, and who cares? I mean, you know.
You know what? That's probably what I love most about Gym Mafia, like our group, is that no one's beating around the bush with me when I have to sit and have a conversation or opinion. And you know how brutally honest everyone is. And I got to be honest, like Tone and Jim, like their street smarts are next level, right? Like when I've sat down with them plenty of times, and I've sat down with you, and I think everyone, like, how many conversations have we had about things? And I think it's important. I think it's important to have at least a person in your life that you can turn around to, and they're not going to give you a bullshit answer. Like, I know Ethan's been a big person in your life also. Like, so having someone that's going to honestly tell you.
Yeah, like, yeah, of course. I mean, you social media is not where you go for substance in terms of like where you're looking at, you know, for validation. Like, that's not what it's supposed to be. You know, like you're going to have to find that with your close ones, with your loved ones, with your family, with people that see you, interact with you day to day, that know a little bit about you. You know, social media is about awareness, and it's about bringing the right kind of focus to specific things that deserve and need to have the focus. And the rest is just people, you know, unfortunately wasting time, in my humble opinion. But you need a good group of friends. I always grew up with the idea that you're as good as the company you keep, and it's important. And you know, you do your best, and that's all you can do.
I love that line. I saw it recently. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I thought that was kind of cool. Someone said that. There's some guy was yelling it somewhere, and I just picked up on it, and I was pretty.
Well, it's interesting because look, I think as humans, we're very, it's inherent for us to want to find kind of like our groups. I mean, that's how it goes back to all the way back to, you know, the beginning, sort of. We need other people. We thrive off of other people, with communities, and being able to feel accepted, being able to feel kind of included, and bouncing things off of people. So it's natural to have that, and it's normal to want that. But I think it's still important that you know that whoever you surround yourself with, you have to have the same mindset or values or experiences, and to some extent you have to know that you'll be influenced by those people as well.
Yeah.
So
Strong.
it's
I think it's a good point.